dies for the Eagles! Leo Barry-Eustace!
Might not be over yet. 5 seconds to go. Let it bounce. 13! 13!
Came up behind him like a librarian. He never heard it.
Nick Davis! I don't believe it! I see it, but I don't believe it!
Zaharakis! An opportunity for Zaharakis! He has the goal! Zaharakis has kicked it! Zaharakis has kicked the goal! Essendon hit the front! Jesus! Essendon in front! Can you believe it? I can't believe it, Brian! Zaharakis has put the Bombers in front!
A different intro for sure, but here we are, round 0 done and dusted, and I don't really know how we feel about round 0, to be honest. I think some of us are going to love it, especially if you're a supporter of any of the 4 teams that won over the weekend. I know at this point in time, as I tap off mute, because I'm going beautifully at the moment, but that is okay. We're all good, all done and dusted, but what a round it was. Shano's here, Riley's here, which we love in a big, big way. And you guys know how this works, whether you were here for the draft stuff, whether you were here for, I can't remember the last live before the draft stuff, but the comment section is where it is at, I should say. I swear these are going to become more polished as we go through. But a massive g'day to those that are joining us. We're going to talk about all things round 0. Did we like it? Did we hate it? What did we not like from particular teams? What did we like from the teams? All of that and so much more is going to be coming up. So first of all, hope you enjoyed your weekend to start with. And it's still going on with most of us having our public holiday at the moment. But I know plenty of you are going to be out there. First subscriber Smithy is going to be out there watching. I know my mate Hank is going to be watching at the moment. The man lovingly called Chef at the moment. He'll be watching beautifully. My little man Caden's going to be out there watching as well. And I know he's a very happy camper at the moment for Easter Bunny purposes, let me tell you. And everyone that is jumping on board is an absolute star. And I'm looking forward to this in a big, big way. And I hope you are as well. Brisbane choking cost you 4 out of 4 tips. Well, Riley, I can do you 2 better than that, mate. Picking Melbourne, thinking they were going to bounce back from a tumultuous off-season, cost me 3 out of 4. With Brisbane going as well. And it was an almost stupid amount of confidence that I had in those 2 games. And then I thought, if Gold Coast aren't that serious, could Richmond spoil the Damien Hardwick party? And then it was pretty clear about 20 minutes into that first quarter that the answer to that question was going to be a resounding no. They were not going to spoil the party. And then the Giants and the Pies. What a third quarter that was by the Giants. Callum Brown, if you don't mind, just going absolutely bunter. And a few from the AFL underrated side that I put together, just putting their hands up early. Charlie Ballard was awesome. Jack Viney was outstanding. But Brent Daniels right now could be the call of the preseason for getting him on that half-forward flank at kick 4 and was awesome as well. So we've got worked at the Suns game. Well, lucky you for a start, because what an atmosphere that would have been. I just want to make sure I'm reading this properly. And from the perspective of Queensland footy, it was a great weekend. Yep, 100%. I'm totally with you. Understand the Victorian point of view, but I'm sure we'll have an okay next 25 weeks. Look, I don't hate opening round. I don't like round 0 as a title, but the opening game, taking it to the markets, that's fine. Screwing up the dates with the NRL was pretty silly, I thought. But at the end of the day, footy's footy, and footy's here. And as someone that watches as much footy as I can, I'm just glad that footy's here and doing as well as it is. So I've got no problem with it in the slightest. Would love to know what you think, whether you're in Victoria, outside of Victoria. Round 0, will it go on? It probably will. There is a part of me that thinks if they wanted to expand it into those states, should they have just made Gather Round shared across New South Wales and Queensland? Potentially, but then it was so good in Adelaide. How could you say no to them? Pretty difficult as well. So hopefully tonight we're going to do a few things, which is get everything from the weekend out of the way. Of course, my thoughts on Isaac Heaney. My thoughts on Isaac Heaney are pretty much he is I don't want to say this as insultingly as it might come out, but is he a wasted forward, Isaac Heaney, with the way that he played? He's one game too much of an overreaction potentially, but he wasn't really a forward in his draft year. He's kicked goals. He's won games off his own boot. I'm sure Sydney fans will remind me of those, but yeah, and I don't really know how to feel about it, to be honest with you, but I liked what I saw. He or Brodie Grundy will get the 3 votes. Personally, I thought Isaac Heaney was the best player on the ground. I would have given Grundy 2 votes, and Jack Viney, I think, would have snuck himself in there for a vote. I thought he was outstanding, but I'll tell you what is the funniest sort of thing from the weekend for mine, and that is the ladder to have a to have a percentage of about 60 there and still be in the 8. I just find a little bit comical. I'm not going to lie to you, but looks a little bit silly. But again, footy's back for premiership points. Doesn't matter that much. Probably not. Probably unless you barrack for Brisbane, in which case there might be a little bit of an issue there. Matt Rowell just proving he's an absolute beast. Yeah. What else can you say? The man is eating grass, and he's going out there, and I'll tell you what he is, Matt Rowell, is he's as hard to stop going for the ball as he is once he's actually got it. So the footage of, now, did he actually handball it? Was the umpire blindsided? These are all very good questions to ask. But I think he had a stage there where he had 3 guys on him, but his ability to get his arms out of a tackle, just his arms, he knows it around the core. He's not going to try and bust tackles. And we know maybe he doesn't quite have the fend off of guys who aren't Dustin Martin, because no one has a dusty fend off. I don't care who you are. James Warple thinks he has a fend off. He probably does. As good as Dustin? No, not at all. But when Matty Rowell picks up the footy, you have to do whatever you can to grab his wrist. Grabbing his wrist is as important, if not more important, than it is grabbing him around the waist, to be honest. Not that we want wrist injuries or anything to Matty Rowell, but from an opposition point of view, I think that's the way you've got to go. I think it was 20 clearances, 10 of them out of the middle. Extraordinary. We've got another hello. Appreciate that. Bring on round 1, Carn the Crows. I am all aboard the Crom bandwagon this year. As those who have watched the preseason stuff, I don't know whether it was good or not, that I just didn't take really a break at all. But the Crows fans really got around it, because it seemed like every second or third video I was putting out was talking up the fact that Adelaide are going to make the top 4 this year. So I feel about the Crows a sense of, I don't know whether it's optimistic pessimism or pessimistic optimism, but no one hopes they go better than I do. Wade, Harley will be on display this week, as we know. I actually have no idea who West Coast are playing this week. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought they were playing North, but North have got the Giants on the Saturday. Someone will correct me. I think it's Port. Is that right? Someone will let me know. Shano, talking fend-offs, talk Punky. Well, for guys in the forward line, I would argue Punky's got probably the best fend-off that we've seen, and the footy IQ of Luke Breust, I think, is just going to continually make him underrated, considering that we, or especially I, as a part of this generation, grew up with small forwards being highlight reels, your Cyrils, your Eddie Betts, Stephen Milne, even a little bit before that, Jeff Farmer, Philip Matera, these guys. Luke Breust's highlight reel looks, in comparison, if I'm being honest, boring. Is he as good as those guys? Yeah, he really is. As a dead-eye shot on goal, and his all-round fundamentals are just extraordinary. Donnie, the bookies now have GWS as favourites. I'm going to assume you mean for the flag. I don't really check premiership odds. I'm not really a futures bettor. I probably shouldn't even be a footy bettor at all, to be honest with you. Got off to a really good start with the first 2 games, and then, jeepers, the last 2. My goodness. But Riley brings up a really good point. How Carlton came back from 46 points was astounding, and I think the most astounding part, and that, for me, and I know Brisbane have won and played in some extraordinary finals up at the Gabba, don't get me wrong. But I think that when we're talking best games at the Gabba, I think that game stands comfortably with the Miracle on Grass and the elimination final against Carlton in 2009. I think those 3 games just extraordinary. And given the fact that they were all so close, helps as well. And I'm sure there might be some Brisbane fans maybe out there watching this back a little bit later on that go, Matt, you forgot about this game, Daz. You forgot about that game, Daz. I haven't watched every game at the Gabba, guys, but those 3 stand out to me. But what stood out as well is just how quick it was. So it wasn't as if it took them 2 quarters to come back from 46 points down. It was the fact that they did it emphatically and in spades, and it was Charlie Curnow who led from the front. I'm going to talk about Harry Mackay in a little bit, but it was, Jack Carroll coming on as the sub, and we all feel for Sam Doherty in a big, big way, and we feel for Kitty Coleman as well. I understand the sympathy around Sam Doherty, I really do. That shouldn't go understated in the slightest. But Kitty Coleman also did his ACL as a guy that we all thought was going to take that next step this year. So fingers crossed his recovery goes well as well. But it was just bang, 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 endless. I think Jack Carroll was in there for 10 centre bounces. George Hewitt kind of went under the radar on Friday night. I thought Cripper was obviously outstanding, but the bit to celebrate, I think, if you're a Carlton fan, is as simple as you did this with no Wiedering, I should say. No Walsh, and you were that far back, and they got up from the canvas. Extraordinary. I thought Adam Saad had some really nice, important moments. Brodie Kemp just continues to get better and better. And Ken, you're right, and I've expressed this a few times before, but it's incredible. And Gold Coast were the same in the 3rd quarter, but with how far ahead they were, they got away with it a little bit more. Because Richmond had to play more perfect than Carlton had to. And I think they probably would have had more time as well, but that's irrelevant. Just how much teams go away from their game plan when another team takes momentum off them. Brisbane were damaging, using the corridor. They were doing all these things that got them this lead. Carlton kicked 3 in a row, and Brisbane, whenever they got the footy, just went boring, just went down the line, and just it was extraordinary just how much their game plan changed because their lead was cut from 46 to 26 in that time. And once a team can smell blood, as we've seen in basically all 4 games now, Sydney in that last quarter, Carlton in the second half, we've got Gold Coast in that first half, and you could argue Richmond in the 3rd quarter, even though the comeback wasn't completed in GWS in that second half, is that if goals are kicked, they're often kicked quickly, which was a huge problem that, my side, the Hawks, had last year. And given how much teams have come back by, it kind of makes me a bit more nervous for the Essendon game. I'm not going to lie to you, but Ken, Brisbane, that was, not great. Alrighty. Struggling to understand why Melbourne haven't targeted an established key forward, looked in all sorts. Yeah. We're on the same page. The internal question before we get to trying to target a key forward, they're not that easy to prize out of clubs, by the way. And Jamari Ugle-Hagan will probably be a guy that they want to target, competing with, of course, the Bulldogs, but also competing with my Hawks. I think Sydney are going to throw money at him. I think Collingwood are going to want to throw the book at him, especially considering Ben King has re-signed for the 2 years at the Suns, and we don't know how far they are going to go. But what about a guy like Matt Jefferson, who they drafted in the first round in 2022? I reckon it has been an emergency a bit. If you've got young tools in Van Rooyen and, Matty J there, look, it makes a little bit more sense, but they just didn't get enough from Neil Bullen. They didn't get enough from Sparrow forward of the ball. They didn't get enough from Spargo. They didn't get enough from... well, you could argue outside of the 15 minutes in that 3rd quarter, they didn't get enough out of Bailey Fritz. But if you kick 4, you've got all the credits in the bank in my book. But that might be something I'll talk about a little bit further for tomorrow's video, I think. Yeah, Riley as well. Their link-up just seems so unbalanced. They don't have a guy that they're confident enough in to dump the ball down the line to, who's not called Max Gawn, who I think only took 1 mark on the weekend, which is extraordinary. I don't know when the last time Max would have finished a game with only 1 mark. Crazy. But what a weekend it was. Footy is back. Feels weird as a supporter who didn't play this weekend as we look at the 4 games that did go down. It was extraordinary to me just how lackluster footy seemed until games started. I don't know how you guys felt. You might feel differently than I do. But once we actually got into the thick of it, if you will, I thought footy away was awesome, and it was very strange. Saturday at 1:45 p.m. To not have footy on felt very weird. But again, footy's on. I can't hate it too much. But is round 0 silly? Yeah. When not everyone's playing in the same round? Yeah, I hate buys, let alone 10 teams having buys. Extraordinary. Ken, how true do you think Jamari Eagle-Hagan going to the Hawks would be? Would be great. Oh, sorry, going to the Hawks would be great. And then Child to maybe help in defense. How true is it? Hard to say. Would it be great? I don't know. I don't know. I can't say that I love the idea of 8-year deals, but an 8-year deal on potential rather than output does worry me a little bit. 45 games Jamara's played. He's kicked 60 goals. That's not a lot. That's 1.33 a game. Mitch Lewis kicked more in his first 45 games. I don't think another club would offer him 10 mil over 8 years. I don't think another club would offer him 6 years. Maybe they would. But I do understand that Jamara has been pretty good in terms of injury, whereas Mitch Lewis hasn't played over 15 games in a season. And I don't mean to try to compare the two either. But I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty skeptical on the Jamara thing right now. That could completely change in 12 months' time. But if I had to sort of pick, the top 5 places that Jamara could end up, I think, honestly, Sydney would be 1, Collingwood 2, the Bulldogs 3, Hawthorn 4th, and I'd probably put Essendon 5th. I hope that helps. Yeah, the D's will look back on their team and be so angry they wasted the talent. That could definitely be the case, which is extraordinary if true. It's very weird when we don't really talk about the greatest teams that never won a flag. We often talk about premiership teams that didn't win more flags. So you think of, Melbourne. Are Melbourne going to waste this talent? Well, I know it's, what are we now, 14 years on, well, 13 years and 13 and a half years on since 2010. And I don't really think we say that St Kilda wasted their talent. And you think, 08, prelim final, lost to the Hawks, 09, grand final against Geelong, 2010, we know the draw, and then Collingwood beat them. And I think they made the semi-final of 2011, lost to the Swans from memory. And I don't think they get talked about, but Melbourne winning one flag and then wasting their talent. Their top-end talent's very good. And their B graders can stand up when required. But yes, that forward 50 is going to be a concern. Missing Cozzy Pickett badly. Shano, I'm with you. Feels weird with no Sunday game. I could not agree with you more. To be honest, I don't know what it is about Sunday footy. I really do like it. Maybe that's because the Hawks have had to play so many Sunday games, potentially. As I say it, I think we only play once on Sunday in the first 5 weeks of the season. Twice. I think we've got Collingwood on gather round, as well as someone else. Hawks after Jamari Eagle-Hagan equals no. Hawks after Sam Taylor, yes. Riley, we are in vehement agreement, my friend. Yeah. A young key defender is not the answer. It just ain't. So, yes, the Hawks did win a flag with Stephen Gillum and Trent Crode as their key defenders, who were not young at the time. And then in 2013, Josh Gibson came from another club. Brian Lake came from another club. And then 14, 15, we know what happened then. So, yep. rightly or wrongly. James Frawley came from the D's, and we thought we would get maybe more output out of Sam Frost than maybe that we've seen so far. The Hawks, so again, came from two other clubs in Frosty's case with the Giants and the Demons. But yeah, Ethan Phillips is a good prospect. Is he going to be a premiership centre half back for the Hawks? Hard to say. But if you can tell me that we can have Sam Taylor and Jimmy Blank as our key defenders for the next 6 years, frothing in a big way. So what I would like to do as well, guys, MVP. Who is the best player for the entire round? So Callum Brown, you'd think of someone in that GWS Collingwood game. I also look at Matty Rao. Was he the best player of the weekend? Heaney, Grundy, Brisbane Carlton, so maybe Harry Mackay for that hit. And how good was that, by the way? Just quietly exorcising some demons there. Hopefully they show Hawks games on TV to make up the lack of games by 2023, but anything could happen. Yeah, I don't think. I don't think so. I don't think we're going to get many, Ken, but I've got a digital membership, so KO's a lot cheaper for me this year, which I love in a big way. Will Clarko succeed at North? Depends what you call succession or what you label as succession. So do I think he can win a flag at North? Well, with the current list, no. With the way that it's shaping, possibly. I love North's group of 24 and unders, and if Luke Davies-Uniacke can get a 3-year run of very minimal injuries, look out. They still need a centre-half forward to partner Nick Larkey. I think Charlie Comben can be pretty good down back as well. Sherry is a nice young ruckman, and they've got really good pieces. Structurally, they can build towards it. But will Clarko succeed? I mean, I'm not going to predict that he won't. There's still plenty of more work to do at North. What they hold this year, who knows? I think North can finish as high as 13th, 14th. I would probably have them 15th if you made me pick. But off topic's fine, guys. Throw whatever you want at me. Opening round was a terrible idea. I don't think you're going to find too many people that disagree with it in a big way. Again, I sit in the camp of I'm just more grateful that footy was here rather than anything else. But, I do like that Clarko question. Will he win a flag? Yeah, Ken, I can't disagree with you. Can't disagree with you too much there. I think that's his 13th sanction. It's an AFL coach, which is extraordinary. I've got no problem with him standing up for his players. But two things can be right at once. You can stand up for your players and that be a good thing, and what you say can be unacceptable. And both of those things are true. Are we ignoring one for the story of another? Yes, I think some of us are. And by some of us, I mean footy media, to be perfectly honest. But only the 4 games at the moment. Who was the most impressive winner out of the weekend? I know a lot of us are going to think Carlton for obvious reasons. And again, none of the 4 were uninspiring by any means. But I'm still leaning towards, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm still leaning towards GWS here. Yeah, reigning premiers at home, I know, but that second half was extraordinary. Who do we think, though? Who was the most impressive winner? Can anyone go past Carlton, or is it simply Carlton easily? Let me know in that chat box, guys. It's not going to be the biggest live stream here, considering we've only got the 4 games. And, of course, it's 7:30 tomorrow night, Monday night, after the public holidays. We all gear up for another working week, or maybe you're working tomorrow, in which case I hope you're getting your 2 times 2.5. My goodness. Lucky you, double time and a half. Not happening for me. Got the day off tomorrow. And it's been holy smokes. Hot, as it has been all weekend, which is not very fun. My checks bump. Over the line. Not great. No idea why it wasn't a free kick. I'm not going to lie to you. The irony is that Jimmy Blank did his ACL, and a lot of vocal Collingwood fans were happy about that because he got Dacos, which is still hilarious to me because Dacos was unbelievable in a grand final, won a premiership, and they're still whinging about it. But then, geez, they were quiet. They were quiet over the Mycheck bump. Optically, not a great look. But Carlton getting the nominations here, which I like in a big way. Yeah, GWS are very good. They really are. For as much as I even now don't like my predictions, my top 8 predictions, yeah, the Giants are going to be very good. But let's be honest, it's not like I pulled that out of nowhere. I think we could all tell that an Adam King that was so good last year as I knocked my mic. Yeah, GWS are going to be very, very good. I'm looking forward to it in a big way. Yeah, got to go with the Giants. All 4 quarters, all aspects. Their transition was mouthwatering. It really was. The Connor Ryden, and what a cool story that was with roaming Brian as well, which was awesome. His family coming to see him was extraordinary. But yeah, their back half, if they can get more help, and they definitely got it in the second half as well, if they can get more help in between the arcs, Kelly, Canelio, Green, O'Halloran? No, Halloran's a Saw character in Jigsaw. Xavier Oh my goodness, why am I blanking? Or is it Halloran? Xavier O'Halloran, number 33 for the Giants. Someone help me here. Is it? Oh, now I'm getting everything mixed up. My goodness, this is terrible by me. Is this something I should be looking up? Young Cadman looked really good. He really did. Number 1 draft picks. He's kind of been the guy that no one's really talking about as that number 1 pick under pressure, which is very nice. I need to look up the GW. It's O'Halloran. There you go. It is O'Halloran. There you go. Who I thought was really good. They've got Perryman on that wing as well. Liked what I saw from Jacob Ware. So that transition is really good. Yeah, O'Halloran's right. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's even been a while since I've seen Jigsaw. I don't know why I doubted myself there, but Xavier O'Halloran, I appreciate that in a big, big way. Was very good as well. So as long as Sam Taylor, Jack Buckley, and I think Harry Himmelberg's going to help here in a big, big way, the Giants in that back half, as long as they're not getting as many inside 50s as they were conceding last year, the sky is the limit, honestly. And I think they can play Aaron Cadman as a genuine Jeremy Cameron style centre half forward flank hybrid player over his head. It's a nice field kick. Not great by any stretch, but he's a nice field kick. And once he gets more confident around the sticks, sky's the limit. But definitely as an aerobic athlete, geez, he works around the ground well, which we like. Not a lot of love going to the Swans, I'm noticing in the chat. I know it was the first game, so we might have forgotten about it. But that last quarter, when they turned it on, was outstanding. And I loved what I saw from the Swans. And there's someone that didn't have them in their 8 even 4 days ago. That wasn't fun. I'm not going to lie to you. And the fact that I tipped Melbourne also wasn't fun. Their kicking for goal was pox. Hogan looking very good at the moment as well. He looks really good. And I'll tell you what he did. He looks lighter in the shoulders, and we know what he's been through physically, mentally, but he looks relaxed, which is really nice. And he's jumping at the footy, and Darcy Moore, excellent captain. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not going to overreact to the reigning Premier losing a round 1 game. But holy smokes, Darcy Moore playing back shoulder is not his strength. He needs touch, does Darcy Moore. He did not give Hogan, I thought, the respect he deserved, especially in that first half when Hogan was taking grabs. But he'll be better for the run, Darcy. I'm not here to hang shit on Collingwood. My God. Grundy was amazing, gave Gawn a bath. Yeah, round the ground was what impressed me more than anything, and that's what Collingwood Brodie Grundy was like, and that's what I was hoping we would see from him for the Swans. And I'll tell you what this does is it really opens up that All-Australian ruckman discussion, because Tim English, I still think Rowan Marshall's a part of the conversation, but Gawn and Grundy, you've got 4 genuine star ruckman there, and you can add Jared Witts to that, who was awesome against Richmond on the weekend as well, if you want to. But if you just stick with that quartet, it might be a case of someone does a Bradbury and just whoever is there at the end might get it. But if you told me that all 4 of those players played, say, 22 games instead of the 23, who's going to be All-Australian? It would be really difficult to predict at this point. Of course, Grundy, flavour of the month because of what he did on the weekend, but extraordinary. Simply extraordinary, and I love it in a big way. But what do you guys think? Who's going to be the All-Australian ruckman this year? Are you still having faith in Gawn? Was the the sort of physical tactics that Sydney brought in, is that going to be a feature? Do they need to play Tom Fullerton next week? If he's fit, in my opinion, they absolutely do. I know he's not the biggest body around the ground, but maybe Gawn can do 60% or 80% of the ruck work, 10% forward, 10% bench, potentially. Sean, two things can be true at once, my friend. Can Gold Coast be a top 8 side? Definitely they can be. Will they? Very good question. But are the Tigers a poor side? Yep. And it ain't going to be great. It's not going to be great moving forward. Cozzy didn't look great. Samson Ryan got subbed out of the game. No Nank, I understand that. No Lynch, no Dusty, which will help them win games as the season goes on. But, yeah, I think outside of Adam Simpson at the moment, that coaching gig for Adam Uze might be the most difficult in the league, remembering what they gave up for Taranto and Hopper, and they were fine-ish on the week. I thought Taranto was quite poor on the weekend, to be honest. But that midfield got, and I hope YouTube doesn't flag this or anything, they got bitch slapped on the weekend. Rao 20 clearances, I think Anderson had 8, Truk had 6. And just, again, outside of that 15-minute burst by the Tigers in that third quarter, their midfield did nothing. Nothing at all. The top 8 this year is going to be wiser and stronger, whichever it ends up, and don't be surprised that some clubs out of the 8 who weren't given a chance will make the top 8. Absolutely can. Which is why top 8 predictions are kind of a necessary evil for any kind of content creator, because going into it, you kind of know that you're going to be wrong about the top 8. Because getting the top 8 right in order, I don't think anyone expects you to do that. It would be pretty extraordinary if you're able to get all 8 right. As long as you've got the reasoning, and I feel like hopefully one of my strengths is my ability to explain what I'm thinking at a particular time. And that's why people engage. But yeah, it's, I'll go in alphabetical order when you think of the teams, right? You go, Adelaide can make the 8, Brisbane can make the 8, Carlton, Collingwood, I still think Essendon can. Who knows about Freo? Geelong still might, you never know. Gold Coast definitely can. GWS, I don't think Hawthorn can, definitely. Melbourne still could. North, probably not. Port, yep. Richmond, probably not. St Kilda, yep. Sydney, yep. West Coast, probably not. Bulldogs, yep. So you've got 14 clubs there to fit into 8 spots. Good luck is effectively what we're saying. And I think every week my opinion on my preseason 8 is going to keep changing. Not that I'm trying to cop out, because I did stand by it when I put it together with my reasoning. Yeah, Darcy, Ash Johnson was very poor. They're uninspiring, the Pies, going in long. Which is not the game that they should be playing as well. But it was a real lack of that midfield forward lowering of the eyes that they were just not getting right at all. And again, it's one game. I'm not overreacting to it, and I'm not, saying that Collingwood are going to do this, that, or the other. But is the Ash Johnson problem solved by bringing in Reef McInnes? That's why they're probably going to throw buckets at Jamara. They're probably perfect structure. If you put Jamara Ugle-Hagan on the Collingwood, they're structurally perfect. The Pies. It's extraordinary. And I've doubted them for not having that good second tall in the past. And it's come back to bite me in a big, big way. So we'll see how they go. I think they got the Swans next week, and that's tantalising. 2 Brodie Grundy revenge games in a row. Which I wonder how many people can lay claim to that. First 2 games of the year being against your 2 former sides. Is anyone willing to jump off a side that lost this weekend? Is anyone ready to write off any side? I don't know how many people would have had Richmond in their 8. I don't know how many people might have had Gold Coast in their 8. But when it comes to the 4 losers, Melbourne, Brisbane, Richmond, and Collingwood, is anyone writing them off? Darcy, I would agree with you. Unfortunately, he's done his hamstring. Nathan Kruger, which is not what we want. Hope he's back soon, because I do like him. Will West Coast be as bad as they were last year? No. They can't possibly be as injured as they were last year, surely. right. Although I didn't love Don Pike coming out and saying that their fitness is not good enough. And I don't really know how much you can work on your fitness throughout a season, considering the toll that their bodies are going to put on them. So that's a little bit extraordinary. But anyway, we go from there. With only the 4 games, guys, I'm not going to take up too much of your time, so I might finish up at this point. So fingers crossed, if you've been in the comments, you enjoyed it. Hopefully we can do this with a full slate of games next Sunday. I might push it out to maybe that 7:30, 8 o'clock starting time. Who knows? But 7:30 tomorrow, a long-form video is coming out. And then on Wednesday, another one as well. And you can also follow me on TikTok at Daz Talks Footy and Daz Talks Cricket, which hopefully I can keep posting through. But the footy stuff is the priority. So look after yourselves, guys. Hope you enjoy your long weekend. Hope you enjoyed the stream. I will see you next time. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Get your mates to do so as well as the charge towards 3,000 subs continue. And I'll see you next time.